Hello, everyone, and welcome to Know Your Shit podcast, where our knowledge and pride in what we do drives us in the pursuit of excellence. My name is Josh Cadillac, and once again, you're stuck with me in the driver's seat for today's show as we learn how to succeed in life and build a successful business. We do this by talking to the most successful experts in their field to see how they built what they have, right? So we can stop just chasing paychecks and build a business we can be proud of. We have a great guest today for you. Meredith, thanks so much for being with us.
I am looking forward to it. Could you have a better name than Josh Cadillac?
You
Wow.
know, I wish I could take some credit for it, but it's kind of how I came from the factory. I was delivered that way, as it turns out. Like there was no previous career and something, and it's just that's my father's last name, so
That's
it
great.
works. Yep.
Yeah.
So Meredith, what is it you do?
Yeah. So my whole passion, I feel like I'm on a mission in life to help people learn to turn uncertainty into competitive advantage. I do that through my work as a keynote Hall of Fame speaker, coach, as well as a consultant and a best-selling author.
Fantastic. What got you started doing that? How did you? What's the because like every speaker I know, every person they're always like, oh well, it didn't start this way. So where did it start for you?
Yeah, so it started for me. I never really thought my career made any sense at all. I was not that kid who knew what she wanted to be when she grew up. So I barely got myself out of college, and I went to work in the travel and tourism industry. From there, I went to healthcare, and from there, I went to financial services. And one day, I was on a podcast, and somebody said, the interviewee said, "Tell us about your career," and I realized that I had entered those industries in times of extreme disruption: travel and
Mm,
tourism after a hurricane, financial services during regulation, and healthcare during managed care. And that's really when I found my gift. Most people hate disruption, and I really love it. So when I was about 40 years old, I started as a consultant, had a lot of luck. People said, "Would you come talk to us?" And a speaking career was born.
gotcha. So like 3 weeks ago, because you said
Yeah,
40.
long time ago.
Um, this is really, really good because like that's actually the space I'm literally leaving here, our conversation here, to go give a class on how to take advantage of a changing market. So like right now, Florida went from the number one real estate market in the country to number like 50 in the course of a few months, right? And I'm like, this is awesome. There's all these opportunities. Everybody's like,
Yeah.
the sky is falling. And I'm like, well, wait a second. Whenever there's an imbalance, all of a sudden, anything time that things get thrown out of kilter, now there's opportunities there's pain, but there's also opportunities that come from that. You have to recognize as it seeks equilibrium again to establish that new balance, not just a pair of shoes, guys. New Balance is something else. It's a place to take and really take advantage and find that niche that maybe those dinosaurs in the field aren't fast enough to adapt to. It seems like it's a good thing, but only if you really look for it. I guess is that
Yeah.
what you're leaning into?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I think uncertainty and change is one of the best times to grow your business, and I think it's for two reasons. Number one is the moment that pain is introduced, your customers, your prospects, they need you now more than they ever needed you. When everything is good, people are really order taking. They're not really
Yep.
serving
Oh my
anybody
God.
because I mean, so true, right? The second reason is because most of your competitors will pull out. It's a clean market. I think if I sold real estate in Florida right now, and you just told me that statistic, I'd be excited because in a market where it's the number one, everybody has their real estate license. Everybody, but pain thins the herd. It
Yes,
just
it
gets
does.
the competitors out so that now I can go in there and do the best of what I need to do.
Yeah. You say competitors. I almost think of them as placeholders. The folks
Yeah.
that come in, they're just kind of filling, like they got their order pad from IHOP where they used
Yeah.
to work. And they're just coming in and like no big deal. So let me ask you this, Meredith. What do you like best about what you do?
What I like best about what I do, gosh, there's a lot of things I love, but what I clearly love best about what I do, what gets me the most excited is watching people's energy shift when they have seen change as fear and pain, and to watch them realize, help them realize that change isn't their problem. Resisting change is their problem. And when
Yeah.
you're lucky enough, like me, to get to stand on stage, you feel that energy shift with people, and it's exciting. All of a sudden, they go from feeling like they have no control as to what's happening to feel like they're driving the bus.
it really is to get people feeling empowered and like they can move forward, see the hope in their eyes come back on. I stand in front of a lot of stages too, and I know exactly that feeling that you're
Yeah.
talking about. And it's genuinely the reward is because you know that you moved the needle, right? These people came in hurting, and they're leaving in a much better place. I got to ask, and I'm saying I know that feeling because I have to ask the other half of this, which is what's the toughest part of what you do, the part that sucks. I like our listeners to understand that it's
Yeah.
not always rainbow and sunshine. There's rough. So what is that
Yeah.
for you?
Gosh, we could take the easy routes of really like the paperwork and those types of things. But I think the thing that frustrates me the most is dealing with competitors that are not really offering a strong solution that can truly help people.
Yeah.
Watching people get sold something that isn't effective or isn't going to work. I find, I don't care what industry you're in, there's a small percentage of people who are really good, really solid at what they do, and then a larger percentage, unfortunately, of people who are not. And I feel like messages get clouded in a really competitive market space.
Yeah. No, I sadly, it's hard to tell the people that are
Yes.
righteous, that are doing it the right way, from the ones that are just gifted at sales.
Yeah.
And I had an experience just the other day. I haven't shared this with anybody, but just happened. And it's a guy that I've been talking to for a long time, and he's been talking about real estate. And I said to him, "Look, don't buy right now. Don't buy right now. Just wait. Just wait. Just wait." And this is not the kind of guy that you know is not the kind of customer that you usually expect loyalty from. He knows 50 people that does the exact same thing that I do. Very much a no nonsense New York guy, no BS, right? And finally, I called him up out of the blue the other day, and I said, I don't know that it's the time yet, but it's the time to start looking. Like there's enough pain in the market. I think you can really get the opportunity you're looking for. And he said, "You know what? Is there anybody that you know that could help me to do this?" And I was shocked, but it was only that I had built the trust up. I didn't
Yes.
want to say, "You know what? Don't pay me. Don't pay me. I don't want to get paid on it. Don't pay me. Don't pay me. It's not the right time for you. It's it's always the right time for me in real estate. I'm
Right.
always getting paid, right? But it's not the right time for you." And that he came back and said, "Can you do it for me?" Um, is just a testament that if you do it the right way, the business is there for the people that do it the right way, I think.
Agreed. 100%.
So this is a question I very much enjoy running by my entrepreneurs, because one of the things that you've had to pick up with time, you've had to work with people, you've hired people, you've fired people, you've gone through the pain and suffering of learning how to recognize talent, right? I want you to turn that lens on yourself. What do you think in your makeup makes you good at what you do? What did you come from the factory with that kind of
Yeah.
makes you good at it?
Yeah, number one is curiosity. It's
Mm.
the reason I'm good at what I do is because I'm curious. I'm just really the moment that there's a problem or a challenge or an opportunity, I wonder why. I want to know why people are successful and other people aren't successful. I'm really, really curious. I think the second reason is I'm a huge student of history, and I love the fact that there's no problem that we're trying to solve right now that we haven't solved somewhere in history. And the
Yeah.
last piece I'm going to say is that I'm a really good listener. I don't think I like the way that I come up with what I'm going to write about, what I'm going to talk about, and the problems I'm going to solve are not what I think the problems are. They come from listening to the people around me, whether it means my team, whether it means my industry peers, or most importantly, really listening to my audiences and my customers. Whatever their pain point is, that's what I'm looking to solve. And I would say it's those three things that make me really good at what I do.
That's your new mission, is whatever their pain is. Go run to the pain. No,
Run to the pain. Absolutely. Because that's what, if you think about it, Josh, think about why Uber got started. Uber didn't get started because a bunch of guys were sitting in a room trying to think of a company to start. It got started because those men were listening to the fact that taxi cabs smelled, they were too expensive, and nobody trusted them. And they went, oh, I bet we could solve that problem. Right? I mean, that's what it's about. Yeah.
absolutely.
Mhm.
No, there's never one around when you need it and all that
Yes,
other fun stuff.
all that other stuff. Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
stumbling drunkenly out of a bar. I want
Yeah,
somebody to
I want
pick me
somebody,
up.
and if I get into a car at 1 o'clock in the morning, I want somebody to know where I am. And
Yeah,
all Uber did
because
was
I might
just
not.
that's right. All Uber did was solve those problems. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, so it would be those.
Capitalism at its best. Find a problem somebody else has, figure out how you're going to solve it better than get it someplace else. You just made yourself a rocket ship to the moon. I love it.
Absolutely.
So, let me ask this. As good as it always sounds, people always see us on the other side of the largest portion of our pain, which is figuring out how to get to where we are. But how, there's always this discipline that we have to come up with of figuring out how to manage disappointment, because there always is disappointment and unmet expectations. What's the process you go through, Meredith, to keep you in the game when it gets tough?
Yeah, that's such a good question, right? Because I think we don't give enough credence to the importance of rejection and failure are a part
Yeah,
of this, And so I think I did not do well with this at the beginning. I mean, I was definitely one of those people who fell into the instant gratification category. Well, I made 3 sales calls. I should have landed a deal, right? I've been on one stage. Now I should be on 100 stages. And I think it is that combination of curiosity, of studying people that have been in this business far longer than I have, and asking their thoughts and their opinions. But the most important is probably reframing failure and reframing rejection. For example, I was up for this was early in my career. I was up for a really, really big speaking engagement. It would have been a stage with 1,000 people on it. And I just got stars in my eyes, and I saw a video, and I didn't get the job. And I was talking to a mentor of mine, how depressed and sad I was. And she said, "You need to get on your knees and thank God you didn't get that job." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She said, "You're not ready for it." She said,
mm,
you don't have the ability right now to carry a stage with 1,000 people around you. You got to get time in the saddle. You got to
yeah,
spend time working your craft. So when that opportunity comes, you can amplify it. She said, if you'd gotten that job, you don't know the definition of failure. She said, failure was not losing the job. Failure would have been getting on that stage before you were ready. So I think
yeah,
reframing it, and because I always think that rejection just means no right now. Doesn't
yeah.
mean no, it means no right now, or that I didn't provide enough value that they feel a need to choose me. And I love that because that's under my control. I can go
Right.
back and figure out how to provide more value.
It's one of the things I consistently see with my entrepreneurs that I talk to, and it's something I always push the people that I speak to try to do, is to reframe things to put you back in the position of looking at what you could have done differently, rather than casting yourself in the role of victim. Oh, woe was me, this happened to me. How do I reframe this in a way that helps me to get out of myself more, to make for a better outcome? Because you could either be the victim or you could be in the driver's seat. You passenger seat or driver's seat. You take your pick. When you sit here and say, "Hey, what more could I have given? Let's post game this." It puts you back in a position where you have some room to grow and get better, and that's really what we're trying to figure out, is how to get out of ourselves more than what we've seen so far. There's a better version of us in there. The problem is that version comes out kicking and screaming a lot of times. We're a little lazy. I'm not going to lie at times. It's just
That's
reality.
right. That's right.
So let me ask you this: with all of this in mind, what is something that you would suggest, or something that you have that you think might be of help to our listeners?
Yeah. So, as I said, my mission in life is to help people start to view uncertainty as opportunity. I mean, Josh, we are living in a time like we have never lived in before. The pace of change has increased
Oh my God.
183% in just 4 years. We're moving 183% faster. People are burned out, overwhelmed, and stressed. And so, what I did was I've spent, since 2016, I've been researching change and uncertainty. And I really studied individuals who have navigated massive disruption successfully, like companies that didn't just survive world wars, they grew in the middle of it. They didn't just make it through the Great Depression. They actually doubled their company in the middle of it. And I wanted to know why. And I developed a methodology called Ask for Change. It's a literal 3 steps and 3 strategies. And I'll give you the link to for the show notes, and give your listeners a code where they can get some information for free. And if they want to go further, get a discount on it. But literally, if you want to shift how you think, feel, and act about uncertainty, this is the strategy. This is the process for you.
Love it. Love it. That is such an important thing. So can you maybe give us a sneak peek of a little something that might be in there to whet the appetite? I like to tease them to make them come see what you got.
Yeah. So you need to realize that change is going to be your greatest opportunity if you see change coming. If you ignore change, change is going to bury you. So one of the steps that I really love and Ask for Change is commit to process, because probably the biggest challenge you have out there right now is how do you remain highly focused, and you've got to be focused to be successful, but have the ability to change on a dime. And the way that you do that is you need to start to prepare for change. We use a tool for this called a skeptic. And the idea is that every couple of months, you get your head out of your business and look outside to ask yourself what changes are coming. How's society changing? How's economics changing? How's politics changing? How's technology changing? How are industry changing and customers? And then ask yourself, what, if any, of those changes do we need to be ready for now? How can we use the time that we have now to get ready for the changes that are coming? I think, we just started talking about the real estate market in Florida. What's going to happen to real estate in Florida if Mondami wins in New York? It's going to go crazy. It's going to go crazy, right?
Oh my
So,
God. Yeah.
it's going to go nuts. So what could you do now to get prepared for that? Right? Or if you flip the other way, we're right in the middle, we're recording this at the time of the Trump administration. Well, what if when Trump is finished with his office, we go back to a Democratic leadership? It's going to be a completely different model to do business under. You can bitch about it, but that's a waste of your time and energy. You can get ready for it. And that's how you navigate uncertainty, is you get ready for the changes that are coming. You predict your future by creating it.
So what you're saying is, if I'm understanding, to give an analogy that comes to my mind, you can either be under the tidal wave when it hits, or on top of the mountain and riding that sucker in to glory. So the under the water or over the water, think it through.
Choice is yours.
Choice is yours. I think the obvious one speaks for itself.
That's right.
A little bit of mental work to take and get there. All right. So I'm gonna ask you for your words of wisdom moment, if you will. What would you say is the most important thing you've learned in the process of all you've done, not just your system, but in general, being in business for yourself and all that you've on stage, off stage, different fields, different industries? What would you say is the biggest thing you've learned?
Can I give you 2?
By all means.
All right. Number 1 is something I was taught as a young child. I grew up with a mother who insisted we talk to strangers. Everybody else's parents didn't want them to, but my mother taught me very early on, when I walked into a room, it was my responsibility to make sure that everybody felt included, everybody felt important, and that I needed to focus on building my network. And it's been the greatest piece of advice I've ever gotten. I love the fact that we live in this high-tech world, but if you build your network, you will change your life. At any moment in time, you are one connection away from somebody who can literally transform your life. And all you have to do is connect and build. Relationships are more important than they've ever been. And the second is, I came to this much later in life, and I wish it's something I'd known early, is the importance of having and focusing on a vision. The mind will find what it focuses on. And the more clarity you feed it, the more ability you have to achieve that.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And it's so easy to want to be distracted and turn the brain off. But there are opportunities around you. And, I've been surprised, even people that I thought there would be no way in the world to have on as guests on this show.
I bet.
The one guy was one of the most successful shows ever on, Britain's Got Talent, and, saw the guy like, why don't you come on? Sure. I'll do that. I was like, yeah. I can't believe that. But yeah, no. And some of the lessons, frankly, that you learn from just talking to people, it's amazing. Kind of a lightning roundish here, if you're okay with that, though, Meredith.
Sure.
couple of quick questions to take your first take on it. What would you say you're most proud of in business you've accomplished?
Most proud of in business. It's just this combination of being inducted into the Hall of Fame, but also I'm really proud of the fact that my business centers on solving problems that people are really, really struggling with. Watching the success of the people who've adopted my methodology, I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, yeah, no, I see it too. I get that. That's it's great to see you win, but it's almost like your kids win, and you
Yeah,
feel
it's
better
far
about that.
it's yeah, it's much better. Yeah.
Really is. Similar question, but a little bit more personal. What are you most proud of in life that you've
Mm.
done?
Yeah, most proud of in life is the fact that I built a really very, very successful marriage. My husband and I have been married a long time, very happily married. We've got a great group of kids. Nobody on our payroll. Everybody's happy and successful in life, and just really just built a very strong community that we have prioritized despite having big and large careers.
Awesome. That is amazing. One piece of advice you'd give our listeners.
Yeah, my biggest piece of advice to listeners is a piece I already gave you. Build your network. It will change your life. Every
Okay,
single day, invest on how you can give to other people.
gotcha. I'm going to work on it today. Put me in,
Good.
coach. That sounds like a good one. Um, all right, this is a tough one, but I got to narrow it down to one. What's the one book you tell people, you know what, if you're going to read anything, you got to read this one?
Yeah, it's Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. I
I
love the
am
fact
not surprised.
I am the book was written in 1936, and I love the fact that it is still so highly relevant today.
People haven't changed. People
Mhm.
haven't changed. All right, this is a tough one. Favorite movie? What's the one movie, Meredith, that if it's on, you're going to stop and watch it?
Yeah, so it is John Wayne's The Quiet Man.
Ooh.
It's filmed
Oh
when
yeah,
he goes
Maureen
back to
O'Hara.
Ireland. Oh my God.
Great,
I don't
great
care.
movie.
I don't care what's on, but I will stop everything and sit down to watch The Quiet Man.
Victor McLaughlin as the brother-in-law is so good. I
It's-
if you've
yeah.
ever seen the original the Gunga Din with Cary
Yes.
Grant, Victor
Yeah.
McLaughlin is.
Unbelievable.
I was
And I,
classically raised.
yeah, and I forget the name of the actor who plays the matchmaker, but
Oh yeah, no, I don't care remember his name. He's so good.
he's so good. He's so disgusted with the US and prohibition. It's so funny. Yeah.
Such a good movie.
Yeah.
Love it. Love that's the first time I've ever heard that one on here. I'm gonna watch it again. It's
Me
been too
too
long.
now.
Yeah, my brother actually told me last night. He's like, you got to watch Captain's Courageous, and like as many old
Oh,
movies as I've seen, and I know it's
yeah.
Spencer Tracy, and I know,
Yeah.
but my father never liked it, and I think the reason why
Oh.
is because my father never liked the father-son tearjerker movies, like
Oh.
because my father was a big crier anyway when it came to that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, I'm guessing that's why. But I'm gonna have to watch that one now too. So that's on the list. Um, this is a little bit of a different type of question. What famous person in history would you want to meet and have lunch with if you could?
Yeah, it would be Winston Churchill all day long. I think I, I not only would he be incredibly interesting, but just his vision and his courage and what he did in World War II was really underrated. I mean, I think about when I study that, and I think, we get so much credit as the U.S. for coming in and saving the day, but it had not been for the pushing of Winston Churchill, it never would
Oh
have
yeah,
happened. And then to see after that the challenges that we were going to have with Russia and things, I don't know. I would love to. Plus, I think he'd just be funny as hell.
yeah. No, no. I mean, as a person that gets on stage and speaks, I get what you're saying. I mean, he had the bard and he both had this amazing ability to twist the phrase. That
Yes.
always the great English, the great Englishman right there. But similar question, but a bit more personal. Who's the person from your past who you'd have lunch with today if you could?
Person from my past. It is my father died when I was 21, and I grew up in a pretty classic family, and my dad worked all day and my mother stayed home and took care of us. And I feel like my father passed away just at the time when I would have started to get to know him. And
Yeah.
my father was really funny and really interesting man. And I think I would like to have lunch with him as an adult and really learn more about him.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've always thought that would be my pick as well. And just
Yeah.
sit down and get their take on where we are,
Yeah.
and like what they thought, and like how proud, or like should I have done something. Like it would just be kind of interesting to get their take on being the legacy kind of that we
Yes.
are of the people that
Yes.
came before us. All right, so one piece of advice that if you could, you'd go back and give a younger Meredith, what was the thing that she needed to hear?
Oh God, the thing that Meredith needed to hear so desperately was that number one is to trust the journey. I had a lot of obstacles in my life, like a lot of people do, lot of lot of dysfunction and a lot of things, and both my family unit and everything. And I thought those things prevented me from being successful, and I didn't know that those obstacles were presented for me to land where I am today. So I think my greatest piece of advice I would have given myself was just to lean into my life and to trust the journey.
Yeah, yeah. No, we have to learn it. We don't have context when we're younger.
Not
It's
at
just
all.
we don't realize this too will pass, and these are all battle wounds I'm going to need for upcoming upcoming wars that we're going to fight. Uh, so, if you had to be stuck in a foxhole taking fire with somebody, who's the person you pick to have in that foxhole with you?
Bar none, I'd want my husband in there with me. He's my ride or die.
There you go.
My partner of years and years. And yeah, he'd be my ride or die in there.
Love it. What do you do to unwind, Meredith?
So I'm a big outdoorsy girl. If I'm not doing a podcast, you'll find me on a tennis court, on a golf course, riding a mountain bike, or anything else that is outside. I'd rather be on a hike than doing almost anything.
Good stuff. I was literally on a hike in Wyoming just day
Ah,
before yesterday. Yeah, no, they, they
nice.
they booked me out there, and I'm like, shucks.
Yes. That's right.
I literally, going from Billings, Montana to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I had two different speaking engagements, right? And so I'm going to Jackson, Wyoming, and it's like you have to go through Yellowstone Park. I'm like,
Oh,
darn it, and then through Tetons Park, and there you are. It's like, oh my
tough
goodness.
life.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, there's parts that suck, but that part was in the this does not suck part of
Exactly.
that
Exactly.
calculus. So what's next for you, Meredith? Obviously, you got big things going. You got the entrepreneurial, what's a disease, let's call it. It is. So there's always, you got the thing that you're working on that's almost done, and then the thing that's percolating in the back that's coming next. So what's the next thing for you?
Yeah, so next for me is I really want to I've taken the methodology and turned it into a book. So we've got the book proposal out there in front of some big time publishers. So that's really what's next for me is I really want to take this whole methodology to a whole nother level. And I really want to start a movement around ask for change. Again, Josh, this has gotten so much bigger to me than a business. It really is a passion. I see how much people are struggling today, and I really
Yeah,
want to shift the process on that.
yeah, yeah. No, especially there's a lot of concern with AI coming and all this other stuff. You know, where's the space left for me? Because you know, people were terrified if you were raising horses for wagons back in the early 1900s. You had a problem if you didn't see it coming. There were a lot of new jobs that didn't
Right.
exist that now became available. Where is the place to be? Yeah, no, I get that. So if folks like this, Meredith, they want to know more, they want to see what you're doing, they want to be part of it, where can people find you?
Yeah, they can find me at my website, which is valuespeaker.com, just the words valuespeaker.com. You can also find me on all the social media channels, but I tend to live on LinkedIn more than I live anywhere. And I'm a big believer, build your network, change your life. So if you reach out to me, I will definitely connect with you.
Fantastic. Meredith, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us. It was really great getting to know you some more.
Well, thank you. You've been an awesome host, and I've loved being a part of Know Your podcast.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to thank our listeners, as I always do, for spending their time with you. And I'm going to remind you, as I always do, there's never a good excuse not to know your shit. Till next time.